In episode 166 of the UK Travel Planner podcast, you'll hear how Lorianne and Nick from Florida turned a cultural trip for their daughters into a 20-day adventure through Ireland and the UK. With castles, trains, scenic drives, and memorable moments across England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, this episode is full of real-life travel inspiration and practical advice for planning your own UK trip.
Welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Your host is the founder of the UK Travel Planning website, Tracy Collins. In this podcast, Tracy shares destination guides, travel tips, and itinerary ideas, as well as interviews with a variety of guests who share their knowledge and experience of UK travel to help you plan your perfect UK vacation. Join us as we explore the UK from cosmopolitan cities to quaint villages, from historic castles to beautiful islands, and from the picturesque countryside to seaside towns.
Hi and welcome to this week's episode of the UK Travel Planner podcast. This week I'm joined by Lorianne and Nick Mancini from Sarasota, Florida, who recently spent 20 unforgettable days traveling across Ireland and the UK with their daughters. What started as a cultural opportunity through Irish dance became a family adventure filled with scenic drives in Northern Ireland, train journeys across England and Scotland, and memorable stops in places like Edinburgh, York, London, Bath, the Cotswolds, and Windsor. Lorianne shares how they planned the trip using a mix of Facebook group support, podcast episodes, or other resources, and a one-to-one consultation, plus how they made the experience enjoyable and meaningful for teens and tweens. They talk about their favourite destinations, standout moments, guided tours, accommodation choices, and tips that help them make the most of their time. If you're planning a multi-stop trip with family or just looking for down-to-earth inspiration for your UK and Ireland travels, this episode is packed with ideas and helpful insight. I started by asking Lorianne and Nick to introduce themselves and where they come from in the US.
That's Lorianne and Nick. We live in Nokomis, Florida, which is just south of Sarasota. And we've been down here a few years. And this was our first trip to the UK.
Brilliant. And how long did you go for? And who did you travel with, Lorianne?
So we traveled with our three children, 12-year-old twins and a 17-year-old. And the reason for the trip was the twins, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but they do Irish dance. And so their teacher was born and spent her first part of her childhood in Northern Ireland, in Annalong, where she's from. And so she and her mom have been here for 30 years, and mom was homesick. So she said, well, I'm going to take mom back, and I want to ask the dancers, the studio kids, if anybody wants to go. We'll just make a cultural tour, and we'll do a couple of competitions while we're there. They're called Feis or we did a Feis over there, which is an Irish dance competition. And she was our tour guide for the first, from the 2nd through the 9th. So for the first 7 days, we were in Dublin for 2 days, and then 7 days she was our tour guide in Northern Ireland. And, we talked about, hey, if we're going to go to all the trouble to fly over there, why don't we just see if we can stay a little bit longer? So we added a few days, and we stayed a total of 20 days. And we spent, I think, 10 or 11 of those in the UK. And then, a couple extra days in Republic of Ireland, too, we tacked on.
And it was fun because obviously I did a consult with you guys. So I got to chat with you all about your plans before you went. So it was really exciting actually, because I was following your trip when you were over there as well, seeing what you were doing. I know you emailed a few times, so it was brilliant. But would you like to give us a quick overview of your itinerary for everyone listening?
Yeah, so the overview was we got a direct flight from Orlando to Dublin. It was a lovely flight, rather inexpensive. I was pretty pleased with the deal we got. And that was our dance teacher helped us find a good flight. She had all the tips and tricks for that. So we landed in Dublin in the morning. You do night flights out of here. We left about 8 p.m. and arrived, 9:30 p.m. local, a.m. And so we arrived. It was real easy getting out of the Dublin airport, and we went straight to our lodging. They let us drop our bags. And in fact, I think I paid a little bit extra, and we just went ahead and did early check-in, It was worth it. And then we just went out on foot. And that's kind of what we did for the next 2 days in Dublin. We did a lot of touring on foot. There was a lot going on. It was kind of hard to get ride shares. There was a big match that night. So we just went on foot. It's a very walkable town. It was lovely. So that was the 31st and the 31st of May, 1st of June. And then the morning of the 2nd, we went to the airport to pick up a car. And we drove. And we are still married.
I was going to say, how did that go?
It's terrifying. It was terrifying, but it was so much fun. I mean, we'll be better prepared. And Trippiamo, you recommend Trippiamo? It was a help. So we drove around Ireland, and we all survived. And then we were in Northern Ireland until the 7th. And then on the 7th, the afternoon, we drove out and explored a little bit in the Republic of Ireland. I don't know how much you want me to get into that. We spent a night near Knock Shrine, and then the next day we went down to Dublin, and we took a tour by boat under the cliffs of Moher, and then we had dinner and live music at one of the pubs right there by the pier where you catch the boat, and it was wonderful. And in fact, I could pull it up, but I can't remember right offhand. And then we spent the night in Galway. And then the next morning we drove all the way back across Ireland to Dublin, and we took was that the Ryanair flight?
It's Ryanair.
We took Ryanair to Edinburgh, and we landed in Edinburgh in the evening, just in time to get dinner at, I don't know how to pronounce this, Macker's Mash?
Macca's Mash Bar.
Macker's Mash Bar. It was awesome. And a couple days in Edinburgh, and then we took a late morning train to York, and we spent that day. And then really, was it the next night that we had a full day and then another day, and we left the night of the 12th. And then we checked in very late to our hotel in London. And then we had the whole next day, so we were able to do changing of the guards. We got there on a Friday. We kind of tinkered with our schedule so we could get that changing of the guards tour, and that was important to me. So we got there the night before, got up early and saw that on the Friday, and it happened to be the day they were celebrating the King's birthday. So there was a lot going on, and we had some adventures a little bit related to that. That was cool. And then a couple days in London, couple days in Bath, couple days in Oxford with a side trip to the Cotswolds and a little side trip to Windsor on our way back to Heathrow, and then back to Dublin at a nighttime flight, and then the next morning we came back to Orlando. That's
wow, so you covered quite a lot in the time you were over there, didn't you? You did.
Yeah, we were moving. But I mean, it was, we had some relaxing times. We didn't book every single tour, we really picked what we would do and what we wouldn't.
Yeah, and you had a few nights in every place. It's not like you I think it's really hard when you do one night. I think that can get pretty tiring. And
yeah, I can't imagine doing that, especially with the whole family. No, we
yeah. No, don't blame me. So how did it go about planning your itinerary, Lorianne? Planning a trip to London, if you're looking for tours that are well organised, full of interesting stories and a pleasure to take part in, I can't recommend Walks and Devour tours enough. I've done several myself, from famous landmarks to amazing food tours, and every single one has been a real highlight. Their guides are great storytellers who make the city feel alive. The team really cares about the details and puts a lot of thought into making each experience feel special, comfortable, and full of those "I'm so glad I did this" moments. You can find all my favourite tours at uktravelplanning.com/best London tours.
I mean, the first thing I did was just did a Google search, and early in my search, you all came up, and I looked at a few sites, but I really liked your site, kind of better than the others. And, yeah, I liked how it was organized. I liked the tone. It was very readable, felt very approachable and easy to understand, because I need that. Big print. I need that. And then the Facebook group was just wonderful. That was such a nice group, and talking through the plans early on. And then I think I did your checklist packet pretty early in the process, which was super helpful. Then the train group asked some questions there, super helpful. And then got the train guide, also very helpful. And then really, it was a few more weeks when the itinerary was taking shape before we scheduled the consult, because we wanted to have something to talk about, specifically.
Yeah. No, it was a good consult. I enjoyed it. It's always good. We love doing the consult. So they're so much fun to do. All right. So you've kind of talked us through, your whole itinerary, what you did, but now I'm going to put you both on the spot because I've got Nick here as well as Oriane. So I want to ask you, what were your favorite experiences and destinations? And I know that might be difficult, but what are the ones that, because we're talking a couple, you've been back 6 weeks or so. So what would be the ones that you still are going, oh my goodness, we had such an amazing time? Nick, do you want to start with that?
Well, it was interesting. We were talking about it earlier, and I think one of the comments that I would make is, we didn't really have any experiences that I wouldn't want to repeat, or very few. Like almost every place we went was a good experience. There were some that we probably enjoyed even more than others, but really it was amazing the whole time. I think I was struck by just how much there is to see in Northern Ireland, and it's just beautiful.
Amazing.
And,
gorgeous.
It was neat. From the place where we stayed, on a clear day, you could look across and you could see the Isle of Man, and that was pretty neat. We spent some time outdoors, and we did some hiking and things like that up there, which was really nice.
So
we did get to the Giant's Causeway and some other areas. That was really something that I would recommend to anyone. And then in Edinburgh, we got to see the Scottish National Museum, which was really amazing. We didn't have as much time there as probably we would have liked to, so we just had to kind of pick and choose what to see. But that was certainly amazing. In London, a big highlight for me was we went to the Victoria and Albert Museum, and we went late in the evening, which was kind of interesting. It's sort of an experience in itself, but we, again, didn't have time to hit everything, so we had to pick and choose. And I think the biggest thing to me was the Raphael's cartoons. We got to see those.
They are pretty amazing.
So I'll let you do some highlights too.
Northern Ireland. I think that was the greatest revelation to us. We had no idea just how amazing and beautiful it would be. I mean, it was really, and the kids, one of their favorite memories is hiking around Tollymore Forest. It's absolutely, I don't know if you've ever been there. They do some filming for Game of Thrones. There was a local tour of, people from the area that were there for their Game of Thrones tour in their, robes and stuff. And, but that was kind of off. They were in another part. We were really in the woods and in the creek and climbing the rocks, and it was magical. I mean, I think I sent you some pictures. Just, it's the one that looks like the ancient old growth forest, because that's what it is. I mean, it's just, and then they have these
architectural follies.
The follies, they built these follies that look really organic and just, I mean, it was just stunning. The walk, the day we went up to Giant's Causeway, we tried to get to the Carrick-a-Reed Bridge. We missed crossing the bridge itself, but the hike down was a highlight for me. I don't know if you've ever done that hike.
Well, I'm possibly going to be in Northern Ireland next month, actually. So Doug's been to Northern Ireland more than I have. I managed to go last year. Was actually my first visit to Northern Ireland last year. And we loved it. We absolutely loved it. So chances are we will, if we get over to the UK, we'll be over in Northern Ireland next month. So I shall be writing these on my list, Laurianne.
Yeah. Anytime, email me. I'll give you some more, little more detailed things, but it was just stunning. Silent Valley was really interesting too. There's quite a local history there with the men that dug the reservoir for the water. There's a memorial to them, and then there's kind of been some stories with where the water's going now, and it's definitely a hot topic, local area.
Ah, interesting. And in when you were in Scotland and England, what were your kind of main highlights, Lorianne?
My Holyrood. I mean, I had no idea how much Holyrood would affect me. I've fallen in love with the life and times of Mary Queen of Scots. I bought a little biography in the shop, and I just am so captivated with her and her story. And I just, it's a very haunting place. I mean, in the good sense, it's really lovely. I didn't expect anything. I don't know what I expected. We got a much better sense of history. You learn this stuff in school, but it really, really did come to life over there for us. And Holyrood and
Edinburgh Castle was pretty.
Edinburgh Castle was amazing. And our nighttime drive, and I say nighttime, but it was light as day until, almost 10 p.m. With Steve. I think it was Steve of Edinburgh Black Cab Tours.
Yep.
And it was so nice because we got to see little neighborhoods that, if we go back, I would want to explore more, maybe even stay in some of them. And we got to see these beautiful vistas that we would have never made it to in the time we had, and he was just so, just such a great host and so easy to talk to. That was lovely. And then York, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
You'll have to.
We saw York Minster. It was, of course, very impressive. And we also did a good deal of the walk around the walls of the city, which was a neat thing for the kids especially. We stayed in a very strange place in York, which we really enjoyed, but it was interesting. It was
it's probably not, maybe not for everybody.
Yeah,
I give some caveats, but it was cool. It was one of the kids' favorite memories.
It was the House of Trembling Madness. It was
Trembling Madness Apartments, the 70s funky one. Do you know the one?
Yeah.
So it was the staircase up and down. That's the one I hesitate, but it was great for the kids.
Yeah.
They loved it.
I bet they did. They did. York's just I love York. I don't think you can go to York without loving it. I don't know. It's just an amazing city to explore. It's easy to walk around. There's so much to see and do. So many of the destinations that we talked about, you feel the history everywhere. You talk about Holyrood, and York is just somewhere that it literally is just everywhere that you walk in York. You feel like you're walking in the steps of, people from hundreds of years ago. You walk down a shambles and you are walking in the footsteps of people from hundreds of years ago, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
We looked across the courtyard from where we stayed, and it was literally, there was a Norman house there from, probably the 12th century. And, it was built into the wall was just built around it of the building across the thing. So it was, but you could see, the structure of the house. There was a little plaque talking about it and everything. So it was just amazing.
I know, it's incredible to think about all the people who've lived in that over the years.
Yeah, we did. We thought about that. And then we were really under the shadow of the Minster, too, which was really cool. It was just right there. And then I do have to say, they did, instead of a breakfast, they left a basket. We asked, and it was so affordable. I think it was like 13 pounds maybe or something. I don't know. Maybe it was more than that. I can't remember exactly. But it was a basket of the most delicious ingredients for us to make our own breakfast. And it was wonderful.
It's fantastic.
So the ingredients were amazing. Yeah. So cool. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you about London and the Cotswolds. We're kind of working our way down now for the highlights of each area. So I guess after that, you went down, you spent some time in London, Bath, Cotswolds. So talk about what you loved about those. London, there's so many things you can talk about, and I'm so glad you mentioned the V&A, Nick, because everybody knows that's my go-to. I could live there. The cast courts are my go-to. I can sit there for hours and I just love them. So tell me about what the highlights were of kind of when you went down to the southern part of England.
Honestly, our tour, I wouldn't have thought so, but our tour guide for the changing of the guard, you think, oh, it's so touristy or whatever, but this guy was a trip. He was just so fun, and we really got up close, maybe more than we even probably should have, but he was just so funny, and we really got to I mean, we were really right there. And I didn't realize how spread out. So we were hoofing it. We had one location and then another. I think there were 4 different locations.
Yeah. You have to kind of run between them all, don't you? It's like a bit of a dash around to catch it all.
And we had great views for all of them. And then the coolest thing was, we were there for our girls to do their Irish dance. And the day we were there by the actual residence where they do the little changing there in front of the residence, the band that marched up, it was the Irish Guard. Oh. And it was the best bagpipes I've ever heard in my life. It was just incredible. So I do have a video of that. That was a real highlight.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, so good. And then after that, we were starving. So we ran into Old Star. It's just a pub, kind of in an old, area there. And all these, really well-dressed people in, military garb. And then also ladies with the beautiful dresses and hats came in. And they had been at the celebration. It's got a name that I can't. There's something with the color.
Oh, Tripping of the Colour.
Yes, the Tripping of the Colour. They had been there for that, and they came in, and we ended up sharing a table with a retired beef eater and his friend that they hadn't seen each other in 25 years, and the wives, and we all kind of got acquainted with each other, and that was really fun.
That's really cool, and you can't plan for that. That's what's really nice. When that sort of thing happens, it's like, hey.
Yeah. Oh, and then the Tower of London was amazing.
The Tower of London was really great. That was something I had wanted to see. And we went for the key ceremony, but what was really remarkable was just that it got us in to see the crown jewels early. And, we thought, the crown jewels will be fine. We just go in, you see them and whatever. But it just that how it goes on and all of the, information about how they're used and which ceremonies they're carried in and things. It was very, very interesting. And then we actually walked to the top of St. Paul's. So that was our kind of grand view of the city from high up. We didn't do the eye, but I think we were kind of happy about going to St. Paul's because it just felt like an organic experience and a way to see the city that wasn't sort of, kind of constructed just for a, tourist kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah. And I'm just going to mention as well about because you went for the opening ceremony and which is always really cool to see. But you're absolutely right. One of the privileges of doing that is that you get in to see the crown jewels, and I've done that tour a number of times now. And when you go in to see the crown jewels, there's a travelator that you have to stand on, so it kind of moves you around. Right. And I've been known to go around that about 5 times because you can do that when you're early enough in the morning. Because some of those jewels are just like dropping, aren't they?
They are. And then you can kind of see inside the personality of the wearer, like Queen Victoria's, the way she had hers done was, that was something I would have never known if I hadn't gone to that. It was really special to see how she did that.
That's really good. Did you do any tours in London?
That one, the changing of the guard, and we did. Was that the only one in London?
I think that was the only one in London.
Yeah, I think that was the only scheduled one.
We took the girls to see Wicked, which was
very good.
That was one of their favorite things.
Yeah, so. I took my daughter to see that actually quite a few years ago now. Yeah, it was really good. It's excellent. The shows in London are just there's so many to choose from as well. It's brilliant. So that's really good. Now you went on to Bath and then on to the Cotswolds. Yes. So what did you think of the Cotswolds and what do you think of Bath?
So we had to deal with a little bit of illness. So my oldest daughter had caught a cold. She missed a day and a half in York. And by the time we got to Bath, I was getting, so I didn't realize it until halfway through the day. So I got to see the Roman baths, which is probably my favorite museum anywhere I've ever been to. It was completely immersive. It completely takes you to another time. You are completely in Roman times, and it was just an incredible experience. And I think especially for my oldest, when she was in middle school, we were homeschooling for 3 years, and she was able to take college classes in Latin. And she ended up becoming good friends with a Latin scholar, and they've stayed in touch. So she actually had a lot of context for that tour, you know what I mean? And it meant a lot to her, and it meant a lot to us to be there with her. You know, it was just amazing. She and her professor got back in touch after that tour. She said, Dan, I gotta tell you, I saw this great tour.
Oh, that's lovely.
And the Minster, you know, I loved that. And then at that point I bowed out, and they did some cool stuff.
Yeah, we went and we actually took a lovely walk in Bath, and we didn't know what we were seeing. We hadn't taken a guide with us, but as it turned out, we hit a lot of the places that were kind of highlighted when we went to the Jane Austen Museum, that there were things that had been, you know, kind of her, you know, places she frequented. And we did, one of the things we got to see was the Guildhall Market, which was really fun. The girls really enjoyed that. And it's like an open air kind of, well, it's not open air. It's in a building, but it's kind of in the round. So you go around, and there are all these little shops, local artisans and so forth, and you can find, you know, both food and leather goods. And they really enjoyed. There was a costume jewelry store where they really enjoyed shopping. And then we did go on to the Jane Austen Museum, and my oldest daughter has read Jane Austen novels pretty extensively, so she really, really, really was a big highlight for her. Yeah, I mean, we had some lovely food in Bath. There was a mezze restaurant we went to that was really pretty good. So, and then let's see, you asked about beautiful. The Cotswolds.
Yeah,
the Cotswolds were interesting. It's kind of spread out, at least so we did spend a fair amount of time in the car between places, but Victoria, who was our tour guide there, did a really nice job kind of planning activities around what we had said we were interested in. And in particular, we had, so it was our twins' birthday. So she had done a tea that she prepared all of the thing from scratch. And then we went and had tea at the lavender farm, which was so lovely because the smell of lavender is in the air and the fields. And it was very, very nice.
That'd be lovely.
Really sweet. She had, you know, what did she call it? Bunting? We would have said garland, you know, in the car for the girls. Like, it made it really special, you know.
Oh, that's so lovely. And they'll never forget that. It's going to be so, because it's so different.
Yeah. And up on a hill, there's a little wooded trail there that you can hike to. And we were there on a clear day, so we really could see very far. It was beautiful. Hike the lavender. We did buy some little lavender products too. It was nice.
Lovely.
And we got snow in the wall and the door to Moria, which is we're big Tolkien people, so that was very, very cool.
Yes, I always have to. We stay in Stowe quite often, so whenever, it doesn't matter how many times I go to Stowe, I always go and have my photo taken. I myself don't know how many photos over the years in front of the door. And sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes you'll go and there'll be like queues of people. And then other, even in winter, even in the middle of winter, you can go. And then there's other times you'll go and there'll be nobody there. And I love it when I get there and there's just us. And then you're like, please nobody else comes, because we can just like take in the whole atmosphere. But yeah, I love Stowe's a lovely place to stay. And then did you actually then stay in Oxford itself?
That was our base camp, if you will. So when we left Bath late morning, and then we got to Bath, and then got to Oxford. And then they went and did the alumni tour in the afternoon. I couldn't make it, unfortunately. And then they did the punting on the river with the tour. That was fun for them. And then by the next morning, I was kind of ready to get back out there. So we had the breakfast, and we loved our lodging there, the head of the river. And so we could just take all our meals there. It's attached to a restaurant. And it's pretty good food and warm welcome, pretty comfortable rooms. I mean, it was a nice base camp, really. Yeah. I mean, if we had more time, if we had it to do over, I wouldn't mind staying in the Cotswolds and taking more time there, maybe going up to the Lake District, but we'll just have to go back.
Well,
Lots of
exactly.
traffic. Cotswolds.
The
That was the
traffic,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Yeah, but
even-
you guys were there in June, so it's starting to. I mean, saying that it's always busy. The last time I stayed in the Cotswolds was actually end of January last year, I think, and it was fairly busy then. It's just such a popular place for British people, and obviously it's a very popular place for tourists. It's not too far from London. It's kind of that quintessential English, that village, town, those kind of what you imagine of that kind of, cottage with the roses around the door. And that's what you get in the Cotswolds. So it is that kind of quintessential English experience that people kind of crave. But even us Brits love it. So
Yeah, that was quite a revelation to me too, that we, I didn't, you don't want to be an obnoxious tourist. And, we were doing things right alongside a lot of UK residents, and that it's like, okay, this is really, truly cool. We're not just,
No, absolutely. I mean, it was my mum's 80th birthday 2 years ago, and I took her for afternoon tea in the Cotswolds, and then we went to Kiftsgate and Hidcote Gardens, because they're my favourite gardens. So far in the UK, there are so many gardens to explore, but so that's my mum. We took her there for a trip. So it's just such a popular place to go. Now I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about how you got around. And I know you talked about car, you talked about train, and obviously on foot. So how much combination of those? And mainly, I guess, in Ireland, you're doing a lot of driving. And then when you were in Scotland and England, was it a combination of train and driving, or did you mainly take the train when you were in England?
We took driving. Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felt well.
The car was just Ireland, and we were very happy in that car in. And all
I bet.
Public transport, a little bit of black cabs, took a couple black cabs in London just because. And we did a lot on foot, and then trains. We had bought after crunching the numbers, we decided to try the BritRail pass, and I think it came out. Anyway, I have more to say about that. If you want me to geek out about that a little bit, I will. We actually, we went for first class tickets because when I added up the meals, I thought, well, maybe we can actually replace some of the evening dinners, eating on the train, because we travel a lot at night. And so I'm glad we did that. And then we packed fairly late, but we had enough that it was nice knowing we wouldn't have to worry about that in first class. We could just get on there and pretty easily get our bags situated. That was kind of stressing me out. So I was willing to go the first class route and get a little more peace of mind.
Oh, it's really comfortable. If I can travel first class and I'm going by train in the UK, I go first class. I'm not gonna fib. I will do, absolutely. And and I like the fact that you often will get food as well. And also with the BritRail pass, I think, Doug's just actually done he's done an article on the website about the BritRail pass and how to use it. And I think hopefully if we're back in the UK next month, we'll do some videos as well showing how you use it. I think the advantage of it is just gives you we look at it and go, it's quite pricey, but it's the flexibility it gives you that is, that's pretty priceless in some situations where, if you miss a train or what, it doesn't really matter because you can get the next one. You've got that flexibility. So it does gives you less stress, I think.
That was worth it to me, and honestly, the routes we were taking at some of the times of day, it wasn't a bad deal, really. And then I think especially if you're going to take some of the bigger overnight rides, that would really, really be worth it, But we didn't get to do this time, so we're just going to have to go back.
Next time that you guys go there. So we talked a little bit about the accommodation that you stayed in. So do you want to kind of, because we can actually link to them in the show notes. So I guess if you want to have any shout outs to any particular ones.
I do. Just real quick, I wanted to go back to transportation. We wanted to be sure to do some underground travel in London with the girls. And we did, and they loved it. It was a great experience. It went very, very well. So
good. That's good.
That was good experience for them. But yeah, so our first... Do you want to hear about Dublin? I don't know. We had a great...
go on. We often get a lot of people when they're planning a trip to the UK that they're either going to start in Dublin or go over to Dublin.
Yeah.
So, why not?
So So we stayed at Ariel House in Ballsbridge. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It was just fantastic. The food was lovely. The welcome was warm. And they have like a living room area that has,
games
and tea, and even at night they have cake out, and it was just wonder. It was a great place to land. Very walkable. It's in Ballsbridge neighborhood, so we were able to really walk everywhere from there pretty easily. Just so comfortable and nice. I couldn't think of a better place to have landed and as a family and be comfortable, and we would definitely stay there again. That was great. What was the other?
Certainly Trembling Mountains Apartments were a very interesting place to stay. If you go on the second floor, you should be very athletic because the ladders are.
Kid. I think it's more for kids. I mean, I really don't think it's meant for adults.
There's not stairs; it's a ladder.
It's really a ladder.
Yeah. No, I think I'll give that a skip.
But it has just this beautiful 70s op art feel, and everything is kind of period appropriate, and it's really fun. The Head of the River was one of our favorites in Oxford, just all around. It was just lovely. It had kind of a Oxford boathouse kind of feel or whatever, and
it's beautiful too. It's right on the river, so if you dine outside, this is a great place.
I've eaten there.
The food we really liked.
Yeah.
And then let's see, other accommodations. We did stay in a few more big hotels too.
We did a couple corporate chains. It just ended up. We did that in Edinburgh. It was fine. Let's see, and then in Bath also we stayed at a.
Where did you stay in London? Which location did you decide?
That was an interesting place. So I did want to tell families about that, or anybody that needs, accommodation for various, mobility issues or whatever. It was the Marriott Residence Inn Kensington. Residence Inn Marriott Kensington is what it was. So it ended up being a little bit more than we were initially quoted. So that's the caveat. But it was a really great situation for a family in that it was the same space as a rental would have been. It was truly 2 rooms, 2 baths, plus a kitchen. It was like an apartment, but it was in a hotel. So then you could go downstairs. There was 24-hour concierge, and there was the big breakfast buffet every morning, So it was pretty nice. And it was maybe a less than 10-minute walk to Earl's Court.
That's right.
Yeah. So it was.
Yeah, it's good to be close to a tube stop because I know for myself by the end of a day walking around London, the last thing I want is to have too far to get back to my hotel. That's me. So yeah, having a short walk is always a good option.
Yeah. So it was nice. I mean, it was definitely not the lowest price option, but you get a lot. It's London.
I'm going to say it's London. London's not cheap. It doesn't matter how it really isn't. And you kind of have to budget. You kind of know if you're going to be. We know for ourselves if we've got the UK that it's London is going to cost us more. Edinburgh generally will cost us more. So you kind of know. Yeah, that. Yeah, exactly.
But what I loved about that lodging, so we had booked and canceled a couple of apartments because they were so economical. But then when I started thinking about having to clean up on our way out, clean the kitchen and do the breakfast myself for everybody and also get our bags and get to the train, I just thought, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want a hotel.
Well, it's a holiday for you as well, isn't it? This is sometimes what I think. And I get that because we'll stay in apartments, we'll stay in Airbnbs, but I like to mix it up because you know what? It's also a vacation for me if I get the chance. So Doug does a lot of that, to be fair, but I'm like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it was a long trip. I couldn't wear myself out,
No, exactly. So what about, we'll talk about two topics kind of briefly, because I do want to talk to you about traveling with teens and tweens, because I think that's an interesting topic as well to definitely talk about. But we'll just quickly cover your favourite foods and did you buy anything fun meaningful souvenirs that you're going to remember forever. So I don't know if you want to start, Nick, with food. Was there any food memories that you're going to go, oh, I'd really like to eat that again?
Yeah, there were a few. Really liked. So when we had a Sunday roast in London, and what was the name of the restaurant again?
Old Shades.
Old Shades. That's right. Yeah, and that was very good. They had, it was roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, like all the things that should be there.
It was
all
beautiful too. The building was beautiful. Do you know that one?
No, I haven't eaten there. No, I'll add that to my list for next month.
Yeah, so that was fun. I tried prawns or no, they're not prawns. What are they called?
Scampi?
Yeah, it was
Scampi.
Scampi,
Yeah.
That's it. Yes, which wasn't what I thought it would be, but it was good. Scampi is so for those of us in the U.S., we think of like shrimp that's sort of sautéed in butter and wine sauce and usually served with spaghetti or something. That's not at all what this was.
No, definitely.
These were little bits of monkfish that are like deep fried or something. And
I think they're langoustine tails. I don't know, something like that. I should know because I love it. It's one of my favorite foods. But I don't. I'm funny when it comes to fish because I often say I don't like fish at all, and then I get a question about it. But I do like some fish. But generally, as a blanket rule, I say I don't. But then scampi is one of my favourites. So I absolutely love that. Did you try the sticky toffee pudding, Nick? Because I know that's a favourite.
Yes, we did. We did have that, and it was amazing. Yes, that was quite good. We did manage. So people always ask us this because this is the object of curiosity for anyone that goes to Scotland if they ate haggis or not. And we did end up eating some haggis. It was in our tea at the Georgian Tea Room, which you had recommended to us, and we did very much enjoy. And they had little sausage rolls that had haggis mixed in, and very good, very very good.
Good. I'm glad you did that.
That was the kids' favorite and my favorite too. That tea at the Georgian Tea Room. That was just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's I do afternoon teas all the time because I have to. It's kind of market research, right? But and Doug and I talk about this because I'm already planning if I get over which ones I'm going to do. But you know what? The Georgian tea rooms are still the one we talk about. We loved it there. We just thought the staff were fabulous there. The food was lovely. Just lovely.
It's just beautiful. I mean, it's a real luxury experience, but it's very approachable and they make you feel they're not snooty at all. And they could be. I mean, it looks like that kind of place, but they're not. They're totally welcoming. And the tea was actually just delicious. And they let you change out your tea a couple times if you want to try. I tried a couple different kinds in the food. And then my filter I have different favorites from the rest of the family because I'm gluten-free. And some places do that better than others. And the Georgian Tea Room did a fantastic job with gluten-free.
Oh, that's good.
And so did Makar's. I can't say that right. Makar's mash.
Makar's mash bar.
Makar's
mash bar. Yeah, that was amazing.
Their gluten-free stuff was just some of the best I've ever had anywhere.
Oh, that's
lots of desserts, which I never get. That was so great. And the dinner, it was just fantastic.
Oh, that's brilliant. Did you go to Sally Lunn's when you were in Bath? I always have to ask because that's my favourite. Lemon curd on a Sally Lunn's bun. No, next time.
We did get a Bath bun, but I don't know if it was Sally Lunn's. It was the one where you could just kind of walk in and get one to go.
Oh, yeah.
In a little.
No, it's
a different one. That's just in Bath.
You'll have it's a Bath one. You'll have to go to next time you go. You'll have to go to Sally Lunn's. Their lemon curd on a Sally Lunn's bun. It's like a brioche bun, but it's also in the most amazing building. So yeah, and you can go downstairs because you can actually go downstairs to what it was like when Sally Lunn's set it up, and you can see the height of the pavement, like how it's grown over the years, like in the last 400 or 500 years, how like the pavement level has just grown. It's amazing. And there's the original ovens down there. So yeah, next time we'll add that onto your list. Now, what about things? Yeah. What about things? Did you
the Bath Deli or the Abbey Deli? Was nice
yes,
too.
That's also good. What about things? Did you buy anything fun when you were over?
So our daughter bought some costume jewelry at
Gorgeous.
The Guildhall.
Looks like a
jewelry show.
Renaissance fair, like this big emerald thing with the big necklace and then the big dramatic earrings.
Oh,
so
wow.
she's already got an event. She can wear all that too.
And then we bought some books, at different places, but we weren't really there so much for shopping, I would say. We did.
No, if we'd had a little more time in London, I did want to get to, what's that tea shop where you can send everything home for £25?
Yeah, Fortnum and Mason.
Yes, that was one of the things I really wanted to do that we just ran out of time.
Yeah.
So again, next time.
You can get some tea. Tea and biscuits and send them home.
I want to get it. Well, I want a tea pot for my night tea, but that's a whole other thing. But no, that biography of Mary Queen of Scots, I'm telling you, it was just this slim little, book, but it's just fantastic. That was great. We got some things in Ireland, Book of Kells tour. We got some things, and Knock Shrine.
And at the Knock Shrine, we got
And then the girls, they got there when we were in Ireland before we even got to London. The twins got these really cool matching Wicked T-shirts, really pretty pink and green, and they wore those to the show.
Oh, that's really cool.
We did. We were pretty. I think, we didn't go all out, but we got really special things.
Yeah, that's really nice to do that. Right, so you travelled with your teens and tweens. So let's talk about how did that go and what sort of advice you have for families planning a trip to the UK.
So I think something that worked out well was we had some time kind of built in to just walk and look around and things like that. And that seemed to be something they enjoyed, it wasn't all, we definitely emphasized a lot of historic sites and, things like that. But wanted to make it something that they could kind of feel like they, didn't have all their time like they were in school, So, and then the other thing was that we did give them some chances to help pick things for us to do, which worked out really well. Like they picked, when we were in Dublin, they picked a optical illusion museum that they wanted to see. And so we went and saw that. And, it was fun. They really enjoyed it. They talked about it as a highlight. So
that's good.
Let them pick some things. And then you just prepare them for the length of the flights and made them, understand that they were going to have to carry their own stuff, for 30, 40 minutes at a stretch sometimes. So they packed well and they carried their own stuff. That was cool. But they didn't want to do a lot of guided tours. If Nick and I ever go back, just the two of us, we'll do all the guided tours, but they liked a little bit of that. They did like the ones we did. Yeah. But they really just like walking and exploring.
Just experiencing, I guess, just experiencing it. And especially for a first visit, just kind of, I guess it's that thing when you're that age, when you're kind of a teenager, it's so different to what you know. So it's just absorbing all of that. It takes some energy anyway, because it's all so different.
Yeah, but it really was, a cultural experience for them. They really did take it all in, and they got some context for history too, because we talk about this stuff, we read this stuff, but you really, really feel the weight of it too. And you really start to put things in order. Like you've heard these, individual stories of people, but you really start to get a sense of the flow of events and the people. And
because you can see where they lived. That's always the thing, is you can see where they lived. You can see what the war, like Queen Victoria. Yeah. If you go to Kensington Palace, you can go and see Queen Victoria's toys from when she was. I love that. I'm like, it's just amazing. Like looking at her doll's house and her dolls that she played with, and you're like, it's mind blowing. And obviously in the UK, you can go back a long time, a long time, and see things. So it is fabulous. And do the girls have any particular kind of favorites you think that they would say, those are the things that we really loved?
The Georgian tea house. That was a real highlight. The Cotswolds tour the day in Bath, the Guildhall, and the walking, discovering. Yeah, I mean, they saw all the highlights, but they found them on their own.
Yeah,
and the Tollymore Forest was just magical for them. I mean, it really was, and that's in Northern Ireland.
Well, I'm gonna
have
to do that now. You do realize that, don't you, Lorianne? That's going to be on my list if I go over.
But if you're into hiking and nature, I mean, like we get out in there. We're big hikers, and so they were really down in the creek and on the rocks, and it was beautiful.
Well, I have to say, I'm not a hiker. I'm actually famous for not being a hiker, but I did a hike in New Zealand 2 years ago, which it just was amazing, the Hooker Valley Trail, and I just was like, okay, this is what hiking's all about. So you never know, I might try it. I actually have to buy myself some hiking boots because I'll be in Antarctica in November, and they've said I need hiking boots for that. And I do want to do a little bit of hiking on Antarctica, so maybe I'll get some practice in Northern Ireland.
Get some good boots. But at Tollymore, the good news for you, maybe if you end up there before you buy the boots, there is a paved part that you can stay on. And I actually stayed on that. I wasn't in a mood to go down into the creek. And, I was taking pictures. I had my iPhone.
Yeah.
So I stayed up, and it's pretty accessible.
Okay.
That part
That's good.
You're not on the rocks. You could get away with just sneakers.
Okay.
You'd be all right.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay. So, at the end of every episode, we wrap up with the same question. So I'm going to ask you guys the question I always end with, which is, what would be your top tip for anybody planning a visit to the UK for the first time?
I liked that we had the long days. If you are on a tight time frame, boy, we got to pack a lot in because we had daylight till 10 p.m. almost. So I would think about that. I would think about the time of year. And then realize that if you're going in late May, early June, Northern Ireland and Edinburgh are still thinking about doing winter to you. Like, you're going to get some winter. we had some winter weather really in June, early June. It was pretty crazy.
It's that thing, that I always say, that the only predictable thing about the UK weather is that it's unpredictable, and you just don't know what you're going to get.
You don't. So we had. So I'm talking Fahrenheit, right? Low 40s with, sideways rain and cold wind. And then by the last half of the trip, they were having a heat wave in the Cotswolds. So, I mean, you really do have to pack for at least 3 seasons. So just do your layers, I liked having a scarf, and I had a knitted cap, and I was glad I had them, Definitely, I would look at train travel instead of cars because the roads are busy. I know you all say that a lot, but it really is a good idea. The trains.
Doug will be happy to hear you say that.
Yeah, I'll do trains. And then I thought a little kind of thing that worked for us, we traveled a couple times in the evenings after everything was closed anyway. And so I feel like we kind of maximized our time by taking a couple of evening trains instead of morning trains. We really got more touring time.
That's good. That's good. Anything else? Anything from you, Nick? Anything that you can think of?
Well, the only other thing I would suggest, in addition to what Lorianne brought up, was just learn how the trains work before you get there, because it's not intuitive.
Doug has a train guide that was helpful for me.
Doug's train guide was helpful because, things like, they haven't assigned which bin the train's going to leave out of until right before it leaves. So there's like a mad scramble of people to try to get to the right track. Like, we would never have known about that.
Was that at Waverley? No, it was the next.
Yeah.
That can happen. That can happen in a few places in London that you can kind of, you kind of go, oh, I know when I go to, because my mum lives near Birmingham. So if I leave from Marylebone, sometimes it's a case of like waiting for that platform announcement to come so that you can do a dash through to get a seat. That's the main thing. But so Doug's he's got his train book, which you guys had, which is great, and he's also doing a lot more videos now. So he's on YouTube. So far, he's put, I think we've got a video about the different trains from London to Edinburgh. He's done one on the Edinburgh tram, actually, which is really useful for anybody getting from the airport in Edinburgh into Edinburgh city centre. And he's done a third one. He's done one on the Caledonian Sleeper as well. And he's got loads more plans for videos, because he knows we've got the book, which does really well. He also does train consults as well, actually. So if anybody out there thinking about doing a train itinerary, he can help you with that. So yeah, we are developing a lot more of that, because we know that the train travel can be something that people can find a little bit like intimidating, especially if you live somewhere that you don't have access to that sort of public transport.
Yeah, and you want to kind of see where your car is going to be. So at one point, first class was at the back of the train, and then at one point it was at the front of the train. And the time it was at the back, we almost missed getting on, because that was also where they didn't let us know where the gate was, or the platform was till the very last minute. So we had to run all the way to the end of this train. That was our.
But it does work. I mean, it sounds like it's terrible, but it's a wonderful way to get around.
It's great.
It's just once you learn some of the.
No, it's a good way to get around. It's our favourite way to get around. Sometimes you have to take the car because you can't get everywhere by train. But Doug honestly would just sit on a train every day, all day. That would be his dream life. That would be for sure. Anyway, it's been so lovely speaking to you guys and catching up with you about your trip, because we met a couple of months ago for the consult, and I know Lorianne and I, we've been emailing a bit since then, just keeping up with things. So it's been fabulous to chat with you, and thanks very much, Nick, for coming on, because I know you've been very busy at the minute with work. So I do appreciate that you've come on to share your trip. So thanks very much, guys.
Thanks so much.
You.
Thanks for having us. It's been fun. Thank you.
Thanks so much to Lorianne and Nick for sharing their incredible family adventure through Ireland and the UK. From dance competitions in castles to scenic train journeys and afternoon tea, it was such a joy to hear about how I made this trip special for the whole family. If you found this episode helpful or inspiring, we'd love your support. You can help us keep the podcast going from as little as $3 a month, and the link is in the show notes. And don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a travel tip, a question, or a story to share, head to SpeakPipe, again in the show notes, and leave us a voice message. You might even be featured in a future episode. But for this week, thanks again for listening, and from Doug and me, happy UK travel planning. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the UK Travel Planning Podcast. As always, show notes can be found at uktravelplanning.com. If you've enjoyed the show, why not leave us feedback via text or a review on your favourite podcast app? We love to hear from you, and you never know, you may receive a shout out in a future episode. But as always, that just leaves me to say, until next week, happy UK travel planning.